Hey y'all, Chris and Angie Funk. Most of the time you see us, we're kayaking, stuff like that.
Right.
But there is another side of us, and we kind of want to show that because both of us, anytime we do a video, we tend to discuss stuff that's interesting to us, and usually look to see what kind of videos are out there, and if something we think is beneficial, helpful, that's kind of how we try to shoot our stuff. So. At least we hope we're helpful.
We're trying to be.
We're trying to be
intend
helpful.
to be.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but with Easter coming up, we decided to rebuild the tomb display for church, and it's been a big job, but it's been a cool job. Now, for those of background for us, for her, almost a quarter century of VBS involvement, or over a quarter century now of VBS involvement. I came into the picture a little bit beyond that, so I'm at probably 21, 22 years, somewhere around there anyway. We love to decorate, and we love to do crafty stuff. We're always part of the decorating team, anything we get involved in. But this type of stuff is stuff we love to create.
Set decorating is
Yes.
kind of what we're talking more about.
Yeah, not necessarily house decorating. My house decorating looks like an F5 tornado hit it. I'm talking about set decorating.
Right.
So, but anyway, this is our tomb recreation, and we're gonna go over kind of the process because it's already built, and unfortunately, you guys don't want to see all that anyway. But we'll show you kind of the steps, the tools. And then this is just base coat. Now we're going to take it up a notch and have it painted. She has got an incredible eye for detail and stuff like that. So basically she tells me what to do and we'll follow along. But this is it so far. Let's look and see what the back looks like, because you got to have a frame before you start with anything, right? All right, we've got it braced right now with the rocks and stuff because we're going to be painting on it, so we're going to be moving it back and forth. It actually stands really well, and its dimensions are 16 feet long, but we overlapped it in the middle. Now our church has a big cross right in the middle, and we'll actually be going around that area, but we wanted it freestanding, so should we ever have a cantata or a play where somebody plays Jesus and actually has to exit the tomb, it's big enough. The opening is 42 inches, so it's big enough for a person to stoop and get out of, should we ever have that person. Usually in our churches it's tough to find a person skinny enough to play Jesus because we're Southern Baptists and we eat too much. But anyway, besides that fact, this is what we came up with. This is the smaller, it's not a 2x4, and I don't know what they call that stud, but it's a smaller, I'd say it's a 1.5 by 2.5 inches. It's a real small stud, but I wanted it relatively lightweight because we're usually the ones hauling it. But we went through and put everything together with screws, and I glued everything with the Titebond 2, the blue glue that we use. I also put a bead of glue on top of the 2x4. So when we put the foam on top of it, it glued to the frame because I wanted rigidity. These things move in and out, in and out, in and out, and not everybody cares as much as you do and we do for when we're setting up a stage. So, I wanted it pretty strong. This is a 2-inch R-value foam, pink foam from Home Depot, but we glued it to the frame. Everything is screwed, the frame is screwed, and then I went in with Great Stuff gaps and cracks, and I just ran beads around it. All that does is it sticks to the foam and to the 2x4, so it gives me a little bit more rigidity in this whole area. Now the foam itself, before I did all this, on the other side I used a fender washer and a screw in just a few areas to come through and screw to the 2x4, so it held the foam rigid while the glue was drying and then while we were doing all this. So, but I mean, it's pretty sturdy for a foam piece, but yet light enough that the two of us could pick it up easy. I actually added these little rope handles on the side too, and it's got them on each end.
And this is going to be for a long-term set, not just for this year. So we want it to be strong enough to store and to be able to pull out in years to come also. So we made it a little sturdier for that reason.
And having the two pieces, we could actually separate them out if we needed to change the entire setup. Of course, we don't have a place to store something 16 feet long or carry something 16 feet long. So we did it in the two pieces, but we also said if we needed to quickly build a third piece for the middle of it, you could separate this out. You could easily make a 20-foot set piece with very little effort. All right, guys, Angie had a really good point asking about when I put it on the frame, had I cut it yet? And no, after I put it on the frame was built from a drawing that I kind of made, my concept of what I wanted it to look like. I knew the flows, so I kind of built the frame just to take up the peaks and valleys of what I wanted. Well, then I glued full sheets onto that. And this is, you know, pretty hefty stuff, so cutting it out definitely is a chore. And what we found through, I guess, the last year, because we actually started cutting the foam, this Bosch blade, and you see it kind of, I'll hold it over toward the camera, it looks like a bread knife, kind of corrugated. This is the Bosch T313 AW3. And I'll see if the camera will focus on it, but that blade right there, relatively inexpensive. I think a 3-pack was like 11 bucks, something like that. But I'm telling you,
Game changer.
It is a game changer. Yeah, if you ever get to use that phrase. All right, so let's see if I can do it without jacking anything up. And you can see you can cut, and I mean you can cut pretty tight shapes, whatever you want to on it, and it's all and it
Very smooth.
very smooth. You do not have to worry about dressing the edges or anything like that. This blade for foam, you can't beat it. After we cut the pieces out, we kind of both talked about where we wanted dimension, and you know, I didn't want just a flat piece of foam. Neither one of us
That's what
wanted
we've
that.
got. We're trying to get rid of.
Yes, so we wanted something that kind of looked like it was real. You know, I mean, a rock's, well, I guess a skipping rock's flat, but this rock ain't flat.
Not a skipping
so
rock.
we used the Titebond too, and just kind of the pieces that we cut, we stacked out on the front of the piece where we wanted dimension, and I'll show you a picture of that. But taking those different pieces and putting that glue on it, and all I did was just to run a bead around it, kind of smeared it, and then put weight on top of it to help hold it in. And then the next part, of course, that was a dry overnight. Then we let it out
Yes,
to
it
dry.
had to be very good and dry.
Yeah, because I didn't want to booger up anything. Now, I mean, even I went in and I was worried about it moving, so I actually put some bamboo skewers in it, but found out that this stuff, the Titebond with a weight on top of it, it ain't moving. But I was a little bit overzealous on that. But the next part is shaping. Now, shaping, this is something where she just kind of hands off, you take care of it. I will tell you, it is very, very messy. It worked very well. It went pretty fast.
You did great.
But it was very messy. And this is something that I try to be a stickler for safety. Even though I'm the guy that hit himself with the tree and damaged his leg, but I try to be a stickler for safety. When you grind this stuff, wear a mask, wear glasses, because I'm using a wire brush. Yeah, this is the stuff that literally, and it goes everywhere. I would recommend a Tyvek suit, you know, a cheap cover up or a set of coveralls. I like the Tyvek suit because I can throw it away when I'm done with it. If I fool with fiberglass or fool with this stuff, I can chunk it. I don't have to keep this and wash it. I actually wore old buffs that I carried and put on my neck. I put over my head. But anytime you deal with a side grinder with a wire brush, always your eyes, number one thing.
Big time.
So wear safety glasses. And like I said, if nothing else, safety glasses and protect your lungs, because this stuff will jack both of them up. So step away, babe. I'm gonna hit this. And I'm not gonna grind much, so I'm just gonna show you what it does. You can see why you got to wear the safety stuff.
Snowstorm.
But this texture made painting, it sticks and it's wonderful. And the paint stuff is something that we learned from YouTube University, and we're fixing to show you that. Now this stuff was the fun part, although it was a lot of work.
It's work.
It was a lot of work. And this stuff's called Monster Mud, and we discovered it doing a couple projects for a pumpkin contest this year. And I needed to build a mountain, and we fool with stuff like, you know, great stuff insulation and things like that, and just painting it, the texture was never right, and it didn't look good. It had a little shine to it. I wanted it to look like stone. I mean, this is important. We want it to look right.
And we've done paper mache, which works, but it's a lot of steps
And extremely fragile.
yeah.
I mean, it is extremely fragile. So, Monster Mud is this stuff here, and it's like a sheetrock mud, or joint compound is what it's actually called if you're looking for it. This is $15 a bucket, depending on which kind you get, and exterior latex. And what you're going to do is 5 parts of this to 1 part of this, and then stir it up. Grab our stirry whippy thing.
Our whippy thing.
Whippy thing.
That whippy thing.
This thing is incredible for stirring this thick mud up. So if you've ever fooled with sheetrock mud, you know it's about like river mud, so it goes everywhere. You got to watch it. We just put it all over in a bucket, 5 parts. It was a guesstimate. No, I did not weigh it. It was like, yeah, that's about it, and whipped it up together. And then the cheapest brushes, which we went the size larger. We've got these because we're going to use these for the effects. But the cheaper brush, and just tamped it all over that thing. And I'll give you a close-up of it. I mean, yeah, she was painting the bigger stuff. I was as far as I could reach, and it took the two of us a couple hours to get it painted, but it looks so cool up close, I'm telling you. So, and again, safety thing, I would glove up. That's just us. But this is a neat thing. If you ever have something that you want to turn into stone, try this out. All right, just to show you an up close of the texture, and then you can hear it too. I mean, this stuff feels like rock. And you could see where all the grinder marks, everything is gone in. And what I did was I would just turn that wire brush up on its side and gouge out. I'd move around. I'd just kind of fade everywhere that I wanted it to taper off and look like a rock surface. I tried to keep some veining going through it, like, you know, big pieces had sloughed off. And this is what we turned out with, and really from a distance it looks pretty daggum cool. So very anxious to get the other shading parts on. She's the shading expert. We're gonna start working on that. We'll give you a shot of it once we're done. All right, y'all. Total project cost, if we had to make a guesstimate, figure $275 to $300. That's, you know, all your base materials. Now we know paint is not cheap, and a lot of stuff I have from camouflage and other things, various and sundry stuff. Some of it was leftover, yeah, leftover house paint. So we did have some stuff left over, but try to figure on a budget. I'd say if you set a $300 limit for that, you'd be right there at it. You know, you don't have to go as crazy as what we did. I do recommend the 2-inch foam. I think the 2-inch foam, you can buy the 1-inch foam, a little cheaper. The 2-inch foam definitely is sturdier and holds up.
And that's what we're looking for, something that's sturdier, because this is going to be a piece used year after year. So
definitely
hoping for that.
So tomorrow we got a choir practice. We're going to try to run down and set it up. I'll try to get you a picture of it set up in the sanctuary. You kind of see, you know, for scale what it looks like. Just let us leave you with the thought that the cross was filled for us. The tomb was emptied for us and you. So remember that this Easter. Hope that helps. Y'all take care.